What's up, everyone, and welcome to the ForTheBoys podcast, created for the boys of the space to share stories, experiences, and thoughts on life, and the battle that comes with it. My name is Tiza.
And I'm Swiggy Second. Welcome everyone to the show. Whether you're viewing on the stream or listening through our podcast, welcome. This is episode 15. Glad to have you on board. And,
What's up, fam? Mafioso here. Just a podcast based on our life experiences so far, because we're not professionals or anything like that, but we do have some stories to share and some experiences to help out for those who could need. Yeah,
that's it. Oos. That's it. How are we, boys?
Thank you. But before we get into that, we'll bring panel on. Joshy, what's good,
Sup, brothers? Sup. Thank you for having me. Welcome everyone to the podcast.
Thank you for
the
always jumping on.
Nice. So our guest, he's paved the way for many aspiring teenagers, a true pioneer, not only nationally in our small bubble of Aotearoa, but internationally as well. He's toured with the likes of the Katinas, Fiji, to name a couple. But man, the respect we have for him is huge. It's always glad. We're always glad to have one of the big also that's we consider that's made it. And now he's sharing his piece with us.
A very iconic voice. So once you've heard those voice, you already know who it is.
You already know.
Massive catalog of music he's put out. A few iconic voices of the Pacific, bro. I say that.
Definitely, man. I think if he just talks, you already know who he is. Our generation, that is. But you can't deny his voice ever, anywhere. Whether it's singing, acting.
Oh,
I've seen a few clips there and cameos here and there. Hey. But without further ado, I want to bring the uso on because who wants to watch us? Because I don't think it's our viewers.
I'm running out of butter. I'm running out of butter.
We need it. We need them all. Go.
Hey. Talofa,
Yeah.
and Malole, yeah, great to be on here, man. And yeah, greetings.
Supple, so man, we appreciate you coming on to our show. As the boy said, we created it for everyone to kind of feel like it's a safe place to let everything out. Before we do that, just give us a little introduction, where you grew up or whatever, just what want to add on there.
Yeah, well, firstly, I just wanted to thank you guys for this platform and, for this podcast and for allowing me to share my story. And hopefully, in the next hour, somehow we can, I can be able to encourage and inspire those who are going to be listening tonight. Just a background about myself. Born and raised in New Zealand. and I come from a very typical small island family of nine. There's 9 of us, and,
Is that all? Is that all?
Yeah. There's 9 of us. There's seven girls, and there's 2 boys, and I'm number 8 in the line. My parents, my father, who hails from Samoa as well as Fiji as well, where he's half Rotuma. And then my mum, who is also Samoan and Tongan descent as well. So yeah, that's our mix. And yeah, born and raised in West Auckland, place called TAPP North.
TAPP North.
Place called TAPP North.
Let's go.
In West Auckland, I think they call it Te Aratu Peninsula now, but for those of us who were born and raised before 1995, it was called TAPP North. And then went to primary school in West Auckland. For intermediate, I went to a school called Pasadena Intermediate, which is in Point Chev, on the borderline of Western Springs.
Point Chevalier.
Yep. And then from there, I from Form 1 and 2, I hung out with all the boys that were on their way to going to Mount Albert Grammar, and I thought, yep, I'm going to go to Mount Albert Grammar too, because I just wanted to play rugby or rugby league, and I thought, yep, I'm going to go to Mags, but my mum had other plans. Instead, she enrolled me at Waitakere College. And then, I guess from there, that's where the music started for me. And then I guess the love for the game of rugby league kind of, got pushed to the side. And then music came along, and then the rest is history. Here I am today, about to share my story with everyone. Oh,
nice.
I'm also married.
I know. You just remembered.
Lucky, mate. Lucky, mate.
You felt something in the back, eh?
That's the main part.
Happily married for 22 years. We have 2 children. Our eldest is back home in New Zealand. Our daughter Samira, she's 23, and then our son, who's here with us on the Gold Coast, he's 17. Yeah.
I've asked pretty much everyone that's joined us in most of our podcasts. What's the key to successful or happy marriage, brother?
Communication and being honest. And never ever lie, because only your wives can read you like a book. So that's the best way to hit that on the head. Yeah.
Nice, bro. Nice. So you personally know Joshi and Mafi. Joshi, how did you guys guess? Know each other?
Yeah, I met Lapi at work when I worked at Juvie. Not Juvie, but Youth Residence, Youth Justice North. I think he came in to sing. I can't remember how, but he ended up working with us. Did you join through CLS? Or some program, and then he ended up working with us, and then just larger than life. Just when he talks, the kids are just memorized. They're just stuck on his voice. When he sings, he could calm the whole unit. He could calm the whole site down. Everyone wanted to work with Lapi. All the kids wanted Lapi in their units. It was just fun times, and just just a really good dude. But I guess a story I want to share about Lapi is when we had an impromptu night. We had an impromptu night. So we just went out, But what the key thing about that night was what happened to me, because I just met Lapi and I knew he was a singer. I didn't know him, and I was like starstruck and all that. And I ended up driving his car. He had this, is it a big SUV type car? Eh? And I went home. Like, we had our night out and blah blah blah. I came back home and I was like excited as, and I was telling everyone, man, guess whose car I was driving in the weekend? I was driving Lapi Mariner's car. Everyone was like, oh yeah, you know Lapi? Because yeah, I've known him for years. Man. I was like a celebrity that night. Oh man, just where we were going, everyone was coming up to Lapi, and I was just like, yeah, that's my bro. But that's how I met Lapi, and Lapi's cousin's actually a good friend of mine, and we all just I was on the line for his wedding, and we've just yeah, life's been life, and I appreciate that, bro. And he's invited me to a couple of the concerts, but I never turn up. But I'll definitely turn up next year, brother. Definitely turn up next year.
Yeah, you wasted the tickets. It's my turn.
I guess the good thing about him using my car was, he was good enough to put gas in my car. So yeah, there's one thing I appreciate about my local there. So
Shadows. Oh. Yeah, but see, Lapi will never agree to this. But he said you're a New South Wales fan, Nils.
sorry.
You're a New South Wales convert. Instead of Origin convert, just tell everyone the truth. All of our thousands of viewers tonight, just tell them you're a New South Wales.
Oh no!
Okay, let me share the story. So me and Kofinga Fepuliai me and Kofinga were hosting. It was Origin night at Manhattan. The Manhattan function room, and it was game one. It was game one of the Origin that we hosted in 2010, and because we were hosting, and we're both of us are Maroons fans, but it wouldn't have looked good if both hosts had had the gears on. So I lost Rox's paper. We kinking them all, and I lost. So I had to wear the Blues jersey.
You're lying.
Yeah, the Blues jersey that night. So and then because everyone had seen it on social media, it came on Singata Pacifica, and everyone just assumed, oh, Lapi's with the Blues. And then when they all saw me wearing my Maroons jersey, they were like, oh, what a changes guy, and all of this stuff, and the rest. Man. But that's the truth. I just want to share that with all of my brothers tonight.
Clear the air.
But you know what? I think to be on this podcast for the very first time, I think I should be telling the truth. Yes, I was. I was.
That's why
and you know what? To be honest, I couldn't handle going to work the next day after every Origin for like those last few years. I got tired of it. I got to the stage, pretty much got to the stage where I just called and wanted to call in sick, but man, what can you do? So yep, I better come clean. I did. I jumped ship and I came in. I joined the Maroons.
I hope you're not going back because our team's not looking too good this year.
Well, I mean, I can do whatever I want now because I'm in Australia. So,
I'm pretty sure there was a jersey person, wasn't there?
But how ironic, that Josh has to wear a blue T-shirt tonight. It's like.
We want to try and take it back. So from how you got into your singing, or actually you played football with Muffy, and Muffy's shared a few stories or a couple of stories with us too. But I'll let Muffy share his story before we get a bit deep.
I don't really have any stories. We just have good little catch-ups here and there, like me and Lapi. Yeah, I think we've played I can't remember the first time I've met him, but I do recall like catching up at a few gigs, like unknowingly. You know, I rock up as the DJ, he's there as the MC or the host, or we were just playing the same gigs and things like that. Yeah, I think it's just like almost random, but we always catch up somehow. We always meet up at a gig, or
And
we
what?
we're just casually doing the Fiji concert together. You know, just things like that.
Hey, take it easy. Take it easy. And that story you shared with every time you're playing it, you're lucky you're a bit faster than the Uso.
Right.
Otherwise, you'll be damaged.
Well, truth is, I'm probably one of the smallest linemen on a defensive end. And when you get up to go hit the block, and he's the size of this guy, you got no chances. You got to turn the gas on and go right around him. You're not going through, though. You're not Aaron Donald this time. You got to go around. You got to go around. But yeah, but I'm ripping tomatoes. Don't worry. That's what I say.
Oh, nice, awesome. But yeah, well, we'll take it back to I guess how you first or you got into singing. You just told us that you went to is it White Tech?
Yeah.
And yeah, how did that? Because man, when I first heard you singing was through Jam or Jam. That's a bit after, but man, our whole intermediate used to always sing your guys' songs, and yeah, bro, I'm definitely fangirling right now.
What stupid comedian was that?
Actually, I wasn't going to school. It was just me playing it. Nah, yeah. Your story about how you got into singing. Have you always been singing
like,
from a young age?
Because I was blessed, you know, to have this gift right from a young age, and I, you know, it didn't really click until like you know, like when I started secondary school. You know, I always knew, you know, that I could sing, and that was thanks to my mum. You know, mum would always sing to me when I was a kid, and you know, obviously our family devotions, you know, growing up in church, you know, and so, you know, we were always, you know, we were always singing, and you know, singing was always a part of my life. But when I got to like third form, fourth form, which is what, year 9, year 10, yeah, that's when it kind of, yeah, I kind of clicked and thought, oh man, you know, maybe I could have a career in this somehow, and so I was very blessed to, you know, have some great teachers at Waitakere College in the music department, who really just gave me direction and really encouraged and inspired me to, you know, just to believe in my dream, you know, that one day maybe, you know, I could do this professionally. And so when I was at that age, I was watching people like Jay Langaia, you know, who was on TV in you know, in those years, and there was another famous classical or opera singer. His name was Josefa Enari. May he rest in peace. And you know, so it was those men like that, and people like the Yandel sisters. There was people like you know, the Jerome Grays, and you know, and when they would feature on TV, you know, back in the days, you know, especially in the 80s, they would always have telethons, and that's where you got to see a lot of our. That's where you got to see a lot of our Pacific people, you know, get exposed on the TV scene. So, you know, I used to sit there thinking, man, maybe one day I could be like that, you know, or you know, maybe one day, you know, I'll be doing what they're doing. And so, yeah, it started from around third, fourth form, and then by the time I was, you know, in the fifth form, you know, I knew then that, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. And so, to be honest, I was only turning up to school just for the school shows and for the and for all of the concerts and stuff like that. And I didn't really, to be honest, I didn't really pay attention to any of the other school subjects. But music and drama were probably the where I really excelled, and that's because I had awesome teachers. And then by the time when I got to 16, so when I was in the sixth form, that's when Jamor Jam started.
Wow.
So I was still in school. I was
True.
still in school when Jamor Jam started, and so it was just being able to I guess meeting the right people, and obviously because Jamor Jam was a very different group, we had two of us from West Auckland, and then the other two were from South Auckland. That was Jamor Jam, and so people, I guess they all assumed that we were all from South Auckland, or we were either all from West Auckland, but no, that wasn't the case. So when it came to practicing and like for rehearsals and stuff, we would always meet at one of our members' homes in Onehunga, and so we would always meet there for practices. And me and Mike Powell, me and him were the Westies, and then Fred Lemalu and Sam were obviously from South Auckland. But the original Jamor Jam, we had females in there in 1993 when I was still at school, and we had Sulata Foai. Sulata, she became the main vocalist for Te Waka.
Man.
She was one of the original members of Jamor Jam, and then we also had another female vocalist, and that was it. And then one of the boys from Purest Form, one of the original members of Purest Form, his name was Kenneth. Kenneth also joined Jamor Jam. So after they shot the Rainbows in, Ed, not long after that, that's when Kenneth joined Jamor Jam.
Wow.
And so that's pretty much the original Jamor Jam back in 1993. And obviously Sulata, she had to leave because she became a part of the group. I don't know if you remember Three the Hard Way. They were a hip hop group from West Auckland, and she joined them. And one of our other female sisters, Sefa Tippins, she also left as well. And then it just became the five guys. So it was me, Mike, Fred, Sam, as well as Kenneth as well. And then that's when we recorded the song, the first song, No One, which was Jamor Jam's very first song that we recorded.
Yeah, remember that one. Damn. Let's have to go back.
Can you sing it for us? We can bring up the you sing.
Sing the chorus,
man.
Josh. I know you know it.
It's a different podcast.
And with becoming, joining the Jamor Jam and how it blew up so far. Oh, you guys are already out there, but with the fame in New Zealand at a young age, did that at any time get you, or did you guys know how to take it that young? Or you were the youngest in the group?
Oh yeah, definitely. I was the baby in the group, and I guess because the other guys were a lot older than me, just like a few years older than me. We were all grounded. We all came from good families, So, and that's I guess I kind of matured faster because I was hanging out with a lot of the older guys. I mean, even at that age, man, I was singing in nightclubs at the age of 16, with the boys, but I mean, back then nobody would have known that I was 16 years old. They would have classed me as an adult anyway, because I was a lot bigger than the boys. But yeah, man, the buzz of being a teenager and singing in nightclubs and being, just being like exposed to that kind of, that kind of life. It was like, oh my gosh, man, is this what it's all about? It's like, I'm really enjoying this, you know.
And the mouth is doing everything. The eyes are just going.
Wearing the shades in the nightclubs.
Hard out. You know, I still remember, you know, there was one particular nightclub in Auckland City, you know, where we were like the resident group at that club, and it was my cousin who ran the club. And I remember when every time people would go onto the dance floor, I would grab a straw from the bar and wait for everyone to come onto the dance floor, and I'll be going sipping their drinks on the tables while they were on the dance floor. You know, 16 years old, I had no money, but you know, yet I'd be singing in these clubs and drinking for free, drinking everyone's drinks, you know. But yeah, that's how it all. Yeah. Now we were definitely grounded, bro. If there was one thing that all of our parents taught us was to, you know, always be humble, you know, and I believe, and I want to encourage, you know, anyone, you know, who wants to pursue a career in the music industry, is that's what will get you far, is if you become, if you humble yourself and just stay grounded, you know, and you'll go a long way. Honestly, I believe that's the key. That's the key in the music industry, or any industry, is you know, to become, you know, just be humble.
Oh,
Nice. Thanks for that. And were you playing football throughout your high school, or is it just towards the?
Nah,
Yeah.
So when I joined Jamal Jam, I also started playing American football as well. And you know, back in those days, there were no junior teams, there were no Colts. You were straight into the, you know, playing against men and with men.
Fuck.
So you know, we were pretty much, you know, thrown into the deep end. But the first team that I ever played for was a team or a club called Metro Lions, which was based in the city, in Greyland. So that was the first team I played for. When I was 16 years of age, and yeah, it was good fun. It was good fun, and then obviously I moved out to South Auckland, and yeah, moving out South Auckland, man, it really changed my life, and
For the good, or the bad?
Of course, for the better, bro, for the better.
absolutely.
Poor fella, man.
And you know, I was the only one of all my siblings that moved out South Auckland. They thought I was nuts, you know, moving out South Auckland. But that was because, you know, I started working out South Auckland. I got to know the guys that you know, that I was working with, and then obviously, you know, these guys are showing me around South Auckland, and I just fell in love with South Auckland, where I eventually moved there in 1999.
Nice. Did whereabouts in South Auckland did you? What area did you?
First place we ever moved to in South Auckland was in Mangere. And we lived on the corner. We lived on the corner of Buckland Road and Massey Road. And I remember probably about 5 houses down the road from us was Kevin Mealamu and Luke. They lived about 5 houses down from us. But yeah, we used to live right on the corner there of Massey Road and Buckland Road, right at those lights.
that's where all the car crashes are.
Because they see Lapi, bro, and we get distracted.
Nah, you see it play touch at Messi Parkson?
What's that?
You got to touch across the road at the park.
Oh man,
Center Park.
we
Did you train with Tour?
we thought it was just play fighting or people playing bull rush.
It was touch and grab and hold.
We saw it all, man. We saw it all in that park.
And you've also won a few Kiwi Bowls as well, and represented New Zealand as well.
Yeah,
And Haka.
the first Kiwi Bowl that I was a part of was in the 2001 team. That was for the Papatoetoe Wildcats, and that was the first time that they had ever won it. That year against a very strong Waikato Spears team, and yeah, man, Waikato Spears were the real deal. You know, they pretty much took over the. There was also when I was playing at 16 years of age, the top team then was Mount Albert Mustangs, and they were a strong team. It was always them and South Auckland Raiders, but Metro were always there when I was playing for Metro. But yeah, I think I've won a few Kiwi Bowls with the Wildcats, and then I've won a couple as well with Metro, and then yeah, represented New Zealand as well in 2002 or 2003, I think it was. Yeah, so that was cool.
Nice. And the love for American football, is that because you're traveling there, or has that always been since a young age?
Yeah, I had my good friends that I grew up with, their older brothers, you know, were playing American football at the time, and so, you know, as youngsters we used to go and watch them play, and they all played for they played for the South Auckland Raiders, and so we used to always go and watch their games. Back in those days, in the early 90s, they were playing on Sundays. So, you know, these guys, they could go and play rugby or rugby league on a Saturday,
Yeah.
and then come play gridiron on the Sunday. And so, you know, we would always go to our morning service at church, and then take off and then go watch the Sunday rugby football.
And
Do you play any
back
rugby?
then,
Sorry?
Oh, sorry, Lapi, did you play any Christine rugby for White?
Oh, no, I didn't play for 15.
Oh,
No, that's no. Nah. My friends did. I never made it for 15. Nah.
Did you play ball?
Basketball?
Were you a baller back in back in West?
Oh no, I didn't. I always hung around at the courts and played, you know, during lunchtime. But I never played like in the team. Nah. Yeah.
We had a comp at work and Lapi's pretty on to it. Orange team hard.
Hey, didn't we win that comp?
Yeah.
We did, eh?
That's what I was asking. Because you're pretty on. You'd think you'd be playing like your whole life.
Oh, thanks, Josh. Really appreciate that.
Oh, especially when you just rush them and just tackle them on the ground and then.
That's probably the nicest thing you've ever said about me, Josh.
What a fanboy.
That's all right, Josh. You eat your ice block while we're talking. That's the one.
You exposed me twice in one sentence.
and and you met your beautiful wife, Jolene, is it? How did you guys meet?
Oh wow. Yeah, we met in the beginning of 1996, and we both started at a job together where we were caring for autistic children in special needs. So we were working in the disability sector together, and she had moved up from Wellington. And so, you know, obviously when you start a new job, there's an induction that you do for about a week or so. You know, getting to learn about the organisation that we were working for at the time and stuff like that. And me and her, we were the youngest ones in our intake. Everyone else was in their, you know, late 20s, 30s, 40s, and me and her were the only, you know, we were the youngest ones in there. But I guess, you know, we started off just conversating, and then I knew people that she knew from Wellington and so on, and yeah, it was a hard case. We became real good friends, and I invited her to one of my gigs. But before that, like she used to always, man, she had a Walkman. Remember the old Walkmans that we used to have?
Yeah.
So during our
Take us
breaks,
back. Take us
during
back.
our breaks in class for induction, she would always have her Walkman on, and she'd be listening to the song. And I said, "Oh, what song are you listening to?" And she would say, "Oh, it's the song that they played at my farewell." And man, I really loved the song. And I said, "Oh, what's the name of the song?" And she goes, "Oh, it's called Knowing." Hey.
Oi!
In the bag, in the bag.
Oh,
And Mr. Suave came out, eh?
oh,
Hey.
what do you
wanna
know?
And I just want to say the rest is history. You know, the rest.
Very nice, very nice.
Very smooth there, also.
Did you
when
did you sing to
I
her?
remember saying, "Well, can I listen to the song?" And then, because I was thinking to myself, "No way, there's no way that she would be listening to, you know." And so obviously I had to listen, and then I thought, "Hey, man, you know these guys they're actually performing this weekend. What are you doing this weekend?" All right.
Smooth.
Let's go.
You know how we do, boys. That's how we do it.
Wow, let's gonna write these down, eh? Just write these down.
Hey, Swanky, you got to learn how to sing first, or do you have a hidden talent there?
Oh,
Or are you trying to
just-
bring out your talent tonight?
I'll
Are
just,
you?
I'll just lip sync. Also, I'll just lip sync.
Did you sing at your wedding, Lapi?
Josh, now I know why you're now I know why you're eating your ice block.
You're too hot for you.
No. Because you're trying to soothe your throat, so you want to.
After different podcast. Stop trying to set me up. Sorry, did you sing it? Did you sing it at your wedding to your walk your wife down, or how did that go?
Oh yeah, of course. Obviously, I had the boys with me and to sing. We sung all the bridesmaids down, but I definitely sung her down the aisle, and so each bridesmaid had a different song, but the song that I chose for her was the song that was written by Casey and JoJo. All my life. That song had just come out, so
Wow.
that was the song that she walked down to. So yeah.
Very nice.
How does it go? I don't care.
Sing it, Josh.
Go on, fair guys.
And sorry, going back to your singing career, but how did you like G yourself up or hype yourself hype yourself up for a gig? For your performances. Was it just natural for you, or?
And to be honest, I've never really hyped myself up before a gig. I guess these are things that I was taught, from other people in the music industry, and these are, because in my years of being in the music industry, we got to meet so many people, and when I talk about people that were artists that were in the music industry, I'm talking about the artists like Arija, people like Ryan and Betty Monga. I'm talking about people like Dave Dobbin, Neil Finn, from the Crowded House, and then there was the likes of Tina Cross, and all these people that we looked up to in the music industry. And I was thankful that to meet these people during events like Christmas in the Park, and that was always a big gig, especially at the end of the year in New Zealand. It's coming up to Christmas. Those were huge shows, and we got to meet other people, Sir Howard Morrison, men like that, who always gave us good advice, and they always made time for us. And so, they would, and we would watch them and how they would prepare before going on stage. And to be honest, all of them they were just relaxed, and they were just chilling out, like what we're doing right now. This would be a prime example of how we would be before a gig, and we wouldn't be like, I guess when you look at the changing rooms of an American football team who are about to go out. Well, there's going to be a lot of hype in that dressing room, But in terms of myself and even the boys in Jamor Jam, no, we never, um, got hyped up at all, and we would leave that for once we entered the stage, when the lights were on us, and then we knew that it's time to go, and deliver and give the best show that that we're supposed to do,
Yeah,
So-
for the people. So
yeah.
oh, nice. I want to know how did you end up linking up with Fiji? Wow. And how was that experience? Like the first show and
Oh yeah, that was so 20 years ago. 20 years ago, Jamor Jam first toured the US, and our last show of the tour, it was a 2-week tour, and the last show was in Hawaii, and we were all in the dressing room, just chilling out, and one of our one of our promoters comes out and says, "Hey, Fiji's in the crowd, and he wants to meet up with you after the show." And obviously we were like, "Oh wow, this is what an opportunity we're gonna get." And I remember after doing that show, it was the last one, and when it's the last show, you give everything, you just empty the tank, because after this, we're going home.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but I remember after the show, I'll never forget it. He came backstage, and he just he was just so he was blown away, by just the whole show and stuff like that, and he was really encouraging, and obviously we were asking him questions, and especially because that's when Sosefina came out, and what was the other one that he brought out was obviously Ko Aloha and Sweet Darling. Those were the 3 songs that just got released
Damn.
that year.
And they're still heavy hitters to this day.
Absolutely.
To this day, bro.
Absolutely. So, when I'm asking him questions, and I'm like, "Oh, bro, how did you get the pronunciations of the Samoan words? How did you get it down packed?" And he told me the story of a Samoan medical doctor from Carson, California, who he became good friends with. He would be, because he was really good in his Samoan, that medical doctor, and he was the one that was, obviously teaching him the pronunciations of, how to pronounce the words. Because when you hear Fiji sing a Samoan song, you would think he was a Samoan. You know what I mean?
Nah, yeah, for real. Yeah.
And so yeah, that's how we met Fiji that same night. Because obviously the conversation still, he even said, "Look, hey, I'd love to take you guys out tonight." And then the boys in Jamor Jam said, "Oh man, sorry, Fiji, we've got to see our family. Our family have come, to visit us here at the hotel." But I was the only one that said, "Oh yeah, I'll come out with you." I was lucky, I was fortunate that day. I got to see my family, in the morning, had breakfast with them, and so they came to the show and then they left. But so I was like, "Oh no, I'm good. I'm good."
I'm ready.
Yeah. But even if I was to meet my family that night, I would have still said yes, because when I believe, when you get opportunities like that, you've got to take them. You've got to take them, and I'm so thankful and grateful that I did take that opportunity, because now, me and him, we're now brothers for life. And he, yeah, he just, I've learned so much as well being with him. Like, when you've been in the music industry as long as I have, you kind of think, oh, I know it all. But then when I got to, really spend time with him, over the last 20 years, man, I've seen him record most of those hit songs that he's brought out today. I can say I was in the studio when he was recording those songs, and man,
Wow.
he's taught me so much in terms of, just from the performance wise on stage, as well as being in the studio as well. There's one thing that I learned from him is, he doesn't muck around when he goes into the studio, and it shows, because when you hear his stuff, it's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Because he's so focused. He's the kind of guy. He's the kind of guy that will lock all the studio doors, and there's to be no distractions at all, because he's gonna write some hit songs, and
Hey.
it's that's what you do, man. Is you take those opportunities, and so yeah, I'm just really thankful that I can call him my uso for life.
Nice. And you've toured with him to quite a few places internationally. What will be one of the best places that you've toured, and the crowd was good? Everything was like one of your best nights.
This shows, bro.
Um, all of the shows that I've done with him have been awesome. To be honest, but if there's one, if there's ones that are my favorite, obviously the ones in New Zealand and Australia,
Yeah.
they're the best ones. You know, and that's not to say that the people in the United States or in Japan or in Guam and in the Dominican Republic. That's not
Oh,
to say that the crowds there weren't good, but it's just that when I have that time with him, when it's just me and him, just spending time together, I always ask him, hey man, what do you love about coming to New Zealand and Australia? And he goes, oh, in America, it's a very competitive market with the island reggae, and because you've got to
yeah.
compete with the country and western, you've got to compete with R&B, hip hop, and so when you're competing against them in a big country like the United States, it's still a small minority. You know, when they come to Australia and New Zealand, that's when they think, oh my gosh, well this is it. Everyone's singing our songs. And the other thing is, he loves performing here because he doesn't really have to perform that much because everyone
Everyone else
does
does.
before.
Yeah.
So that to me, Beach is not only is he a great performer, but he's also a great writer. In terms of the songs, because if you notice, all his songs are sing-along songs. They're
Yeah,
catchy.
definitely.
They're very catchy.
Everything. Yeah.
So everyone's going to sing his chorus lines because that's the way he wrote them, so that people can sing along to them. So he's very smart,
And in terms of your career, your singing career, um, did you take away a lot of the advice as well? Did you, when you went into the studio or the booth and recorded your music?
Oh,
Um,
definitely, definitely, man. I mean, just that when we performed, when we recorded the first Jam or Jam album, like I took all that advice from Fiji, and I guess that's why Jam or Jam had that sound that it was very. I guess it was, at the time it was very unique and no one was doing it,
yep. Yep.
Definitely was,
and
yeah.
so, we kind of, we were kind of blessed to have that formula, in terms of the vocal arrangements, and that was all, thanks to Sam Tuunga, who was the producer of Jamor Jam. Sam's background, obviously, he was the music maestro for Jamor Jam, and he was also the choir director for his church. And so when you're a choir director, you're always teaching vocal arrangements to your choir. And so when you teach, when he was teaching us, it was, he was doing the same thing. But I guess, individually, we also added our own little flavor into the harmonies as well. And I guess that's what made the formula just, just made it work, because he was the music maestro, and then obviously our vocals all together just had that good blend.
So you started your career from high school, Lapi. Have you ever thought of creating another group like how Jamor Jam started? Have you ever thought about getting some brothers and sisters together and forming another island group?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Just let me know.
To be honest, during this COVID lockdown, we got together, me and the boys, and we decided, look, should we do another album?
Oh,
Reunion album.
And because to be honest, no one's really doing what we were doing back then today. If you look now, there's a lot of soloists, which is great.
yeah.
There's a lot of solo artists, but there's not many groups. I mean, we have bands. We have a lot of bands now, and that's great as well. But yeah, there's no one really doing what Jamor Jam were doing.
Yeah, and because
So we decided, well, let's give it let's go for it. Let's do it. So
Nice.
we're waiting for the borders to open so we can all get
Nice.
together and do
Yeah. Let me know when we're ready.
Oh no! Oh no!
To answer your question, bro, yeah, it has crossed my mind where, I've thought about it, putting a group together. But to be honest, I really didn't have the time. But I'm thankful that, there is names from Eddie's has who started Tone 6 now.
Yeah, Tone 6, man. Ooh.
yeah,
So
they're
Tone
blowing
6,
up, man.
For such young kids, their voices are very mature. That's one thing that sets them apart, is for being so young, but yet their voices are very mature and they're awesome, And I can't wait till they release their originals. I'm waiting for that day.
And you caught up. Oh, I seen in one of your posts. His Nane's brother is residing in Australia as well.
Yeah, that's correct. He's in. He now resides here on the Gold Coast, and yeah, so he rang me a couple of months ago, and he asked me if I was available to sing with him at a wedding.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, we done this wedding together here in GC, and it was good. And then I think when I posted a photo of me and him up, I think his brother back home in New Zealand was like, "Oh man, I really miss his brother."
And now that you're in the GC, you spoke to us earlier about your little one, your son. He's in the professional camp for not camp. He's in Broncos. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So the Broncos recruitment for youth development, they spotted him as a 13-year-old back home in New Zealand, and then since he was 13, they were flying him back and forth just for trainings and stuff like that. And then it wasn't until September last year where the Broncos decided, oh look, we would really love for him to come to school here, and we'll get him a scholarship, and then that way he can also be a lot closer to us here at the Bronx. So he's come over. We've come over, and he's had an awesome season this year playing for school footy
Nice.
here. School rugby league here in Australia is very different to New Zealand school rugby league competitions. I mean, as you all know, the school comp in New Zealand's very short. It's a very short season. We're here. It's a very long season. It's longer than the first 15 season that we have back home in New Zealand.
Yep.
So yeah, league is very it's awesome. And just being able to watch him play for school and for representative level as well, for the Malmaninka Cup, which has been awesome. For the last few years, I've always missed a few of his games because I've had to travel with Fiji or I'm with the Katinas. But this year, I think it's despite what's happened with the pandemic, it's been good for me to just have a break from singing and just to really focus on our son. So that's been the positive for during the COVID.
Oh man, that's good to hear. Because you as a professional yourself, a professional athlete, and the pressure you get from parents or just family outside. What's that been like for your son? Obviously you don't want to put pressure on him, and because it's been in a professional environment, there's already pressure there anyway, because they want them to be at their, I guess, best. The advice that you give to him or you can share with other people that are going through it as well.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good question, bro. Because us as parents, all we can do is just encourage our son. That's all we can do. We can't force them to do things, and we're just here to just encourage them and just to make sure that that education is also important. That's one thing that we've really encouraged them with is son. And I remember saying to him, rugby league will only take you so far, and it can all be done with one injury, And then what have you got? What have you got after that? What do you have to fall back on? I said, man, you don't want to be. I said because I know he can sing as well, but I've always told him that's the last option. But I would rather you get educated, maybe own your own business, or to to just as long as he was educated, as long as he had something to fall back on, And so at this age, he's already made his mind up as to what he wants to do, and I think that's for us as parents. We also, when we talk with the Broncos, and that we say, well, look, if you can offer him the scholarship, to go to school here or go to university, and then man, we're good, man, we're good. He can, as long as he has something to fall back on. Yeah, that's one thing on advice I want to give to parents is, especially when your kids are at that level, at that elite level of sport or whatever it is. Because the main thing for us parents is we just encourage them. We're not, because I've seen a lot of kids here who have moved over, and they've moved over just on their own. And there's no parents, and I kind of feel for these kids because there's no one to be here for them, and so me and Jolene have been those parents for those kids. You know what I mean? And just like right now, even I'm encouraging my friends. Hey man, I know your kids are your son's really talented. He's gifted, but if you want to bring him over here, then you need to move over here. Because there's a lot of things over here, like when the Palangi see that their kids aren't playing because some island boy has taken their position, a lot of
true.
A lot of racist remarks are going to be yelled at this
True.
sport. and this kid doesn't have any family here that he
No
can
support.
talk to, and you know, just things like that. And so, yeah, just they have to move over here.
Welcome Fui, and Soaks to the show. We're about to finish it, Fui. So see you later, bro.
Yeah, Morimela,
Fight Carlo fight.
See you, Fui. Good to see you, Mauso.
Hello, brother.
Oh man.
And how's your son doing at the moment? With the Broncos training and everything. I'm sure it's pretty full on. Lapi.
Yeah. So they've got a 2-week break, and then they start preseason next month. So yeah, it's pretty funny here with school because he's now starting year 12 now. So year 12 in Queensland starts in October. I mean, I'm not sure how the schooling system goes in New South Wales and Victoria, but over here, like he was year 11 at the beginning of the year, and now he's year 12. He's year 12 right now. So he's also getting ready for his final exams, and but yeah, the trainings have been awesome because obviously he started his preseason training last year in November, and even he said to me, "Man, Dad, he really notices the difference, with the trainings here because, he thought he was fit when he was back at home in New Zealand, but since
Different kind of
moving here,
training.
he's really fit, so he's fit like his dad, just."
Yeah, very fit.
Is he a Kibra?
No, he's at Palm Beach, Currumbin.
Oh, Palm Beach, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we got him to play with the Balangi boys.
Yeah.
But
the real question is, would he be playing for Samoa or Australia or New Zealand?
New South Wales.
Yeah, he told me last year that his heart will always be for Samoa. But I guess the beauty with our son is thanks to my mum and dad, he can either play for Fiji, Tonga.
Yeah, true.
Or Samoa, but I know his heart will be to play for Samoa. Yeah, so sorry, Josh.
Sorry, Lapi. You got Tongan blood in you, Lapi.
Yeah, my mum is from my mum's from Vava'u, Leimatua in Vava'u.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Don't do it, Soaks. Don't.
No, he's trying to claim you now. He's trying to claim you.
Don't be claiming Lapi now.
Yeah, we better put this guy on mute because he's next level once he finds out that sort of
Along
stuff.
with Fiji. Fiji's got Tongan blood in him too. So he's Tongan.
Yeah, that's true.
Tongans are talented, bro.
That's very true. Fiji is also part Tongan as well.
Oh, here we go.
That's the one.
He has connections. He has connections to Vava'u. From Vava'u. That's right.
Nice.
So
It's game over for this tonight. Hey, Fui, how you been, Fui? How you been, brother?
How's the lockdown?
His mic is on mute.
Just
Unmute his mic.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
it's playing up.
Why don't you want me to talk, Matthew?
Hey, I brought you on.
Matthew doesn't want me to talk.
I just want to hear your English accent again.
Faz ao cama.
Only on Friday.
How are you?
Friday. What? Good, also same old. Just wanted to jump on and listen to those so Lapi. Because last time I seen Lapi, he was performing here in Melbourne, but someone poisoned my orange juice, so I couldn't really see properly when he was performing. It was a bit blurry. So it's good to jump on.
I remember I was on stage. I think it was I was on tour with Eddie's in Melbourne, and I could see Fuyi out in the audience, in the crowd, and I'm trying to wave out to him, and I was like, oh no, I think my brother's had enough. I think he's had enough. But also I also remember seeing you at the Fiji concert too, and I remember waving out. Or was it the Jamo Jam concert? And I waved up to you. I remember I acknowledged you when I think I was with Jamo Jam.
Jumbo Jam.
Yeah. And I spotted you in the crowd, man. I was, oh man, this
Yeah.
Why can you mustache, Nathan?
I said, come on, please, someone. Yeah. Every time I watch concerts, someone poisons my orange juice. I only drink orange juice.
Lapi, now your career now, you just following your young boy around with the Broncos. Or you singing, doing a bit of gigging over in Australia?
Yeah. Oh man, I haven't really thought about doing gigs here in the Gold Coast. Like I said before, the focus is really on our boy, and yeah, I know I'm going to be heading back to the US in January. So it's going to be all go again. But I haven't. I think that the last gig that I done was One Love here on the Gold Coast, and then after that, that's when COVID hit. So we'll see what happens for the new year. But I know definitely in the first 3 months of the year, it's going to be back to the US.
And what will be one of the best, or like with all your touring and traveling to different countries, what will be one of the best places you've visited, or that you'll keep going back to if you had the chance?
Sydney.
I really loved it in Miami. I think Miami kind of reminds me of the Gold Coast. It's Florida is a state that's like, right on the coast. It's near the water. Miami's the same. The city of Miami's it's built on water, so it reminds me a lot of the Gold Coast. The people are great, and yeah, just going there, a lot. It's one of the pretty places. Also, I like going to Seattle, Washington, because it reminds me of New Zealand. It's so green. It's the only city in the state of Washington State where it rains a lot. Seattle rains a lot, so it's nice and green like New Zealand. So those are probably my favorite places that I like to go to. The Cook Islands, I love going to Rarotonga. That's probably the only place in the South Pacific where I can go and just really relax. I love going back to Samoa and Tonga as well. But then when you go to Samoa and Tonga, you're always going to have to take an envelope with you to give to your family before you can actually relax. But those are my favorite places, and even up north, in the far north of New Zealand, like Kaitaia, Ahipara. I like going up there. It's beautiful up there, and just no distractions. And I can really just have a break.
That's the thing of being famous. Everybody wants to do something or want you to do something for them, and to have that little break away from the world or from everything is, I guess, it's pretty good.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. And you really need that time, to need that quality time to spend with, especially with my wife and the kids as well. That's really important for me.
Nice. Hey, Fui, how's everything in Melbourne? With the coronavirus and everything, is it still shut down? Are you still level 3?
Yeah, the Wi-Fi is still locked up.
Also,
He's doing the lagging challenge as well.
I think your did you get that last question, Fui? How's everything in Melbourne? The family? Is it still locked down there? Just throw your phone on the ground. Might work. No, back to Lapi. Man, we honestly I can't.
Yeah. Are we on?
We appreciate you coming on, man.
I think my kid
your experiences.
Your Wi-Fi's got corona. Just
Really? Hey, go to the library.
Library stage 4 here, Melbourne.
Oh wow, still on level 4. Damn.
it's tough, bro. That's tough, Oos. How's the mental? How's the mental health
I'm
also?
level 4 here. Yeah. It's 5 kilometer radius. What was that?
5 corona, baby.
Solid. I'm struggling over here, hey.
So,
You know what? Just hold up. I'll just go online and go bring you my internet bill, and then I'll come back.
Can you pay for mine too, please?
the neighbor changed their password.
Well, let them tune him out.
Go get a glove bug, son.
Hey,
Lapi, did you make corrections, eh? You make the corrections also? Good Mike.
You're on mute, brother.
Hold on.
Okay, let's say Gilo Mike, son.
Sorry, look.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I worked a few years at Mount Eden Prison.
Or due
I
to
had a lot of
technical
fun there.
difficulties.
Were you ever a prisoner, Lapi? Have you been locked up before?
No, Josh, but I did look after a few of your cousins.
Oh, I need an ice block.
Yeah, those were fun times, especially seeing a lot of our own people coming in, and back then when you look at the statistics of Palangis and Māori, who were they were quite they were the majority of being in the prisons, but very fast Polynesians or Pacific Islanders were, the stats were starting to change real fast. And so, there's a big percentage now, I guess, in terms of the prison population, I think they're the third. They'd be the third now, or Pacific. So those are alarm bells.
Did you at any time in your career inside doing corrections, obviously you have your deal with a lot of inmates. Depression big, or depression, anxiety? Did you ever have to deal with any of the inmates, or were you trained to deal with it?
We went to, in all honesty, we were never trained to to wear that hat, or to be we never had the expertise to get them, or to have those conversations with them when they were going through those times, when they were in that dark place. But I guess we were, I wore the hat, not of a corrections officer at the time. While working in there, it was always like I could be that older brother, or sometimes, and even working with Josh alongside at the youth justice, we played, we wore the hat of having the father figure, for these young people. But in terms of the prison, man, it was just listening to them, just being able to just listen to what they were going through. And man, when you read the history in the background of a lot of our men that are in incarceration, man, it was sharks. There were times where I got a bit emotional just reading the backgrounds and the history and what they've been through right from a young age. So yeah, man. I witnessed a couple of suicides. While working there, and it was always during Christmas time and New Year's where they're most vulnerable. And yeah, I'll never forget the first time having to cut someone down.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, just but it was the way I dealt with it was I was just grateful that I belonged to a church. I had a lot of family that were very supportive.
Support system there.
During that time, just witnessing a hanging, that was pretty. I can still see it today. And,
Yeah.
Something. I just But how I dealt with it was obviously just surrounding myself with positive people and making sure that I was all good, to carry on with work, because to a lot of the other officers who had been in the game for a long time, a lot of them, most of them were like ex-military.
Yeah.
So the way they dealt with things like in situations like that, they were able to laugh it off.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. They would joke about it, and then they would bring up, the first time that they had to cut someone down. And sharks, man, I was like, oh my gosh, like it was just, for real. Is that how you dealt with it? But, being in the armed forces, you're taught to deal with that kind of stuff. Where someone like me that had no military background, and you come in and see something like that for the first time, man, it can be quite daunting.
Yeah, you really don't know how to deal with it until it happens to you. I guess with us on the trains and people, wanting to commit suicide and using the trains as a tool to do it, I keep thinking about we really don't know how to react or how to cope with it until it happens. I guess it was similar for you when you had to go through cutting someone down.
Definitely, I think one of the first things that I ever done, after witnessing that kind of stuff was, I went to people that I knew of that had siblings that had done the same thing. And then, my questions, to them was, well, how did you get through it? What did you do? And who were the people that you went and
Yeah.
did you get counselling? And most of them didn't. Most of them didn't get counselling. But the ones that did get, obviously, they were, very, very fortunate to get that counselling. There is counselling available, just like in any other job. And yeah, they were awesome. They were very supportive, and if anything, they were encouraging me not to go back to work, straight away. And yeah, had a few sessions with the counsellors, and it was free, So
Yeah.
Lapi, did you I did a bit of work with corrections as well, as you know, and I've opened up a door to a deceased person through unlocks. Did you feel being an islander? Did you feel being an islander that it was the deaf side of things wasn't really shocking to us? It was kind of like our cultures and that, except kind of those things as to be some people get scared and run and can't look at it or can't face it. But our culture, we kind of like we kiss our dead, we cry on them, we pretty much treat
bring them
like,
home.
Yeah, we do everything like they're not even deceased. Yeah. Did you feel like that a little bit, like it wasn't too overwhelming, like for some people like that,
Yeah, I think for me at the time, I was, I'll be honest, I was freaked out because when you see on the movies, when you see a hanging, they're always hanging from from like the ceiling or something. But in this in this instance, that wasn't the case. This person had obviously hung himself by using the what do you call it, the beams of his bunk,
yeah.
And he just dropped to his knees really. So he wasn't necessarily hanging from when you see it on the movies and you think, oh, far out, so okay. But when I saw this, and then when you see his state, that was it was quite freaky. But I understand your question. Like I know death is always it's part of life, and us as specific. It's open. Hey, when we our loved ones.
Yeah.
But it's very different when it's someone that's gone and done it that way. Yeah, very different. So,
And because I used to do youth work as well, and I think I shared the story the beginning of our first ever episodes where one of the kids wanted to try to take his life, and they were doing it in such a subtle way where he was just underneath the blanket, but yet under the blanket he had just the pillow sheets, and he was trying to pull him, choke himself to. And like you said, it's hard to deal with it on the spot, because you're shocked, you don't know what to do, and then the secondly, you're hoping your training will come through and teach you shit. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. And just going back to what Swanky was saying, we drive trains in Auckland. Going through the interview process, they say, "Oh, how are you with fatalities?" And to get the job, I just said, "Yeah, I'm good." But really, I don't know. I've never hit someone or killed someone. You can't plan to have a good fatality ever. So, to get the job, I said yes. Oh no, I think I'm all good. And then obviously driving now, a near miss or someone just walking in front of you, that's a big shock to you. So that could put anyone off seeing that sort of stuff. And I'm just hoping at the end of all this that counseling is good. You get the right people talking to you, the right people uh, diagnosing you with whatever you have, whether you've gone into that mental state of depression or something along those lines. But I just hope that if people are to reach out, there's avenues they can take. Oh, I'm just letting everyone know. Sorry.
Oh,
So unmute your mic.
Hey, also, you got your mic muted.
I think it's on his phone. Eh?
Yeah, he's muted on his phone.
Yeah, he's muted himself.
Someone just one.
Your mic is muted, Us. Sorry, we couldn't get the last bit. Your mic's muted.
Yeah, there you go. Oh no, it's gone. Kile Mike Sully.
So your mic is still muted?
I think what we're really doing is trying to get the mental health thing in really for this part of the show, and it's like we're good, Terry.
Yep, all good.
Oh, yeah. Carry on.
Loves, we didn't hear what your response was.
What's that, Josh?
We didn't hear your response. You were on mute the whole time.
Oh, yeah, no, I remember asking the counsellor. My first question that I asked him was, had he been, has he ever been through it? Has he ever seen someone, and he answered, yeah, I've been through it, and so it was, I was at ease. I was more at ease because I knew that, oh well, he's been through it. And then, I remember, like I shared earlier, like, I went and spoke to people who were close to me that had siblings that had, committed suicide as well. And I guess, when I had those conversations with those people, I said, look, man, I know you don't want to go through it again, but for me, this is what happened to me. And I just want to know from you, like, how did you get out of that? How did you, how did you deal with it? How did you overcome it? And so they were a huge help as well as the counsellors as well.
That's good. That's good. You seeked help. Because we have quite a few listeners that have that join in or that have listened to our podcast. And I think the one thing I want to share with people that are going through something along those lines, where they've experienced some sort of death and they're spiraling downhill. To seek professional help, because there's always something out there or someone out there that's been through it, or seek help in general. Don't let it sit within you, because it'll obviously eat away. I haven't personally experienced it, but I think little like near misses or just little things that you go through makes you like question, oh damn, I need the help or something along those lines. I need to talk to someone. And I guess the short or someone I can talk to obviously is my wife. Even though she doesn't understand it, listening and hearing my troubles or little troubles is a good thing, because you don't want to carry it, like I said.
Yeah, that's good, bro.
So we've been going hard, but so we come to the part of our episode where we leave the viewers or everyone. Oh, sorry. Before we get into that, shout out to the chat that's come through or they have been listening. The followers, the viewers. We also stream to podcasting platforms such as Spotify and every podcasting site out there. But before we end our live, something we kind of tap into towards the end of our session is leaving an advice or a quote or something with our followers out there. So, Matthew, so if you want to run us through your piece.
Man, sorry, is my mic on? It's gonna be the same for me every week. It's the communication part for me. It's the fact that we need to open our mouths, we need to talk, share. I mean, that could be the change for this week's one. It could be share something. You're gonna need to talk, but sharing is a different thing because it involves a little bit more of what's going on inside your mind, how you're feeling, whether you're down, you're up, whether you're in trouble, where you don't know what to do. You know, I think, share something with somebody, a good thing, a bad thing. Have a talk to somebody, share something. Never know what that could be for you in the end, in the long run. You know,
That's it.
times are hard these days. So yeah, if you can't talk to somebody, share a story. You could just change the name from you to somebody else. But it's that start that you've actually opened up about something that could be getting you down.
Yeah, sharing that story, someone else might relate to it, and
Definitely
might get them through those hard times. I'll follow up. Same every week, bro. Check in with those family loved ones that you haven't spoke to in a while. Life's fast, bro. Like times are fast now. Before you know it, it's the end of the week. Before you know it, the end of next week. Just check in on your family and loved ones. And because only you will know if behavioral changes or a close friend, you see them change behavior. Just give them a quick question. Are you okay? Check in. Again, that one question, that simple question might just open up a conversation and might start pouring out what's really going on behind that. Yeah, I'm good. You know. So check in on the boys, check in on your family, friends, loved ones. That's it, Us, every week.
nice.
You hear me?
Go ahead, Josh. Yep.
Oh yeah. Sweet. Just a couple of things for me. Be attentive to your family and friends. Like if you know a person well and you see that there's something wrong, like it's a little change in their behavior, something's going on for them. It's to look out for the small things. You know, if I'm too talkative and like one day I'm not talkative, something's wrong. Or it's just you need to be attentive and for the people around you and see what's going on for them. Because no one really wants to talk about I'm feeling bad, I'm feeling dumb. Secondly is sorry, I've just got a couple of things. Secondly is whatever negative feelings that you have is normal, right? You know, feeling sad, being angry, or your depression, all that, it's normal. But what we need to do is we need to unlearn how we manage it and learn a new type of strategy to deal with it. And that just means being aware of how you feel and just like the boys say, communicate, reach out. And like we need to be more actively, openly asking people are they okay, and just be consistent about it. You know, because they might hear it the first time, second time, but it won't. The door won't click till later on. So we're always openly just checking in on people. One day they might just say, actually, I'm not okay. And like my last point is just failure. If you fail in life, it's all good, right? The disappointment and expectations is one of the biggest downfalls for us Pacific Islanders. it's all good to fail. If we fail in our relationships, if we fail at work, wherever we fail, the best part about failure is that we can learn from our mistakes, or we should learn from our mistakes, and that the support network around you is there to just back you up. But yeah, lots thanks for that, man. And just shout out to Melbourne. Melbourne on your level 4. I know I've spoken to a lot of people in Melbourne, and it's a downtime for them. It's not a good time being locked up and stuff. But just my prayers and thoughts to all of you guys going through stuff. Reach out especially on the page, boys. Just interact, do some interaction, write your thoughts, and just be you. Be all good. Thanks.
Sure, brother. One thing for me is, there's always help out there, and I know the hardest thing is to reach out. We, as a team, with the podcast, we try to reach out to as many people as we can, whether it's just a post, hoping to, draw them in, or, just standing on our lives. So, for those that have tuned in and are listening to our podcasts in the future, there's always help out there professionally. Like we don't know everything, but we'll always lend a helping ear to listen to anything you wanna share with us. So and at the same time, we can refer you on to professional help. There's always professional help out there.
Yeah.
Lapi, you want to share a little advice for our viewers out there and listeners?
Oh yeah, just I think these platforms are really awesome, and especially for our Pasifika, especially for our Pacific people, because we're always, when someone asks, how we're doing, and our answer will always be, oh no, we're good, I'm good, and I think as brothers, when we have that close brother that's very dear to us, and we need to be more upfront and say, nah, seriously, how are you, and that they're able to be, that they're comfortable to share what they're really going through. Yeah, my heart goes out to to anyone that's really in that dark place, and I just I'm grateful that being in the music industry, we can help some way, with the songs that we sing can be really therapeutic for people. I've just over the years, we've had people just send messages of thanks, man, thank you for writing that song, because it really helped. It helped me and my wife, and it helped our child or whatever, to get through what they were going through at the time. And so I just there's a real healing in the music that that I'm part of, and that everyone else is a part of as well, and then I'm talking really about our Pacific artists who are just writing some real awesome stuff, and so I'm glad we can be able to help that way. But I'll always be a person that will make time for someone, and it doesn't matter whether I've known you from just meeting you today, or known you all my life. And so because it could have happened to me as well, and I'm just thankful that I had those people that I could talk to as well. When I went through, when I was, going through that stage of, when I witnessed my first, hanging, that's, man. But, yeah, just to be true, to your brothers, be honest with them, and just, because if, us as guys, us as men, sometimes we're not really, we don't want to show that lovey-dovey side to us.
Yeah.
Other brother.
Definitely.
Yeah. Caught up in that stigma.
There's a real need for that, and so I think having this podcast, for the boys, well, that's what it is. It's for the boys. You know, it's and it's for the boys, so then they can be a blessing to others, and then you know they can say, yeah, it's for the boys, and then we can go out there and share our stories that can hopefully be an encouragement to someone else, and to hopefully say, oh, it's all good, it's okay. I've been through the same thing, or I've probably been through worse. So yeah.
Thank you, Lapi. Thank you.
Before you want to add in something there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Loud and clear as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to say, just stay positive, eh? It doesn't matter how many times your mic goes on and off, just keep your head up, you know what I mean? Times are hard out here, and you just keep on going on mute and then unmute, but just got to fight through, you know what I mean? But in all seriousness, I just want to say, even though things are hard here in Melbourne, me and my wife's outlook is there's always someone doing worse than us. So you gotta stay up, especially if you have little ones, and just having that outlook has helped us heaps. You know, there's always someone out there that's doing it tough and tougher than you. So whatever you do, just do your best to stay up and keep those around you up. That's all. Shadow sauce.
Nice as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Cesar?
I think he's frozen up as well.
Oh, yeah.
I had a lot of internet tonight, boys.
Oh, wow, this internet, eh? With that, I want to say thank you to Lapi for making the time
Thank you as
to
well.
jump on our little podcast. Thank you for sharing your stories, dropping your knowledge, and getting to know the Uso behind the iconic voice. Thank you for taking the time out of your day, Uso. Very much appreciated. Thank you, Fui. Thank you for blessing us with your lovely mustache this afternoon. Always appreciate you jumping on every week. Thank you. I hope prayers and thoughts out to you and the family out there in Melbourne. But yeah, again, thank you, Lapi, for taking the time and joining our podcast and sharing your experiences, your stories. Josh, thank you, Uzo, for jumping on the podcast this week.
Pleasure to always have you on every week, boss. Knowledge.
Always good to see you jump on. But that's us, boys. That's our show for this week.
Thanks, boys. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Hopefully everyone has a good week, and to Lapi, Fui, and always appreciate you guys jumping on and sharing your piece with us. But this is For the Boys podcast. We're signing out.